Saints All-Pro defensive end Cam Jordan, who walked away from his breakfast to sit down and speak with us. For that, we are so grateful. Thank you very much, Cam Jordan. Obviously, you're joining us under some very unique circumstances. I want to start just by asking, how are you? How are your friends and family? What have you been doing during this time?
We're great. In terms of how is health, I mean, health in the house is wonderful. Everybody in the house is active. I got a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 1-year-old. My wife is overly active, coming from Rutgers, playing basketball over there. She's a West Coast kid. So everything we do, we just do it in the backyard now. So, I mean, if it means, push-ups, jumping jacks, squats, everybody in the house is on this routine. We've got our own little ladder outside in the hallway, step ladder, of course. I'm getting my son's feet work right. I don't know if he ever had a chance to, but every day we're on this ladder. If anything, I know we're going to be running some crispy routes very soon.
That's awesome, Cam. And listen, you are, in addition to coming off your best season as a pro, you are coming off your best season in the media. You're all over everywhere doing sideline reporting. You're in other networks' promos. So you obviously have a very bright post-career, second career. But I want you to talk about you for a second, because so much of this interview is going to be about your team and your quarterback, your division. The last 3 years, you got 40 sacks. You, Aaron Donald, Chandler Jones, the only people on that list. You're going into year 10. Your dad played 13 years, if I'm not mistaken. We had it on the bottom of the screen. You have 87 career sacks. You're 50 away from 137. Why does 137 matter? Everybody with 137 or more is in the Hall of Fame if they're eligible. How much more do you think? Do you think you got 50 more sacks in you? Are you going to play longer than your dad's 13 years? What are some of your personal goals still out there? And do you start envisioning the gold jacket potentially one day? Talk about yourself for a moment.
Yeah, when you talk about what I want to do, I've always said I wanted to make myself known as a pass rusher in the league. I wanted to make myself known as a run stopper in the league. I wanted to be the most complete all-around defensive end in the game. And I feel like I've done that to this point anyways. You talk about heading to year 10. I have a goal. I mean, if I can get, another double-digit sack situation under my belt, I feel like 100 sacks in 10 years is noteworthy. I don't know if I even knew about the 137 sack threshold. But when you talk about striving for the next 6 years, I have every plan to do just that. In my mind, I have anywhere from 6 to 8 years in left in the bank. Wow. So I'll reach my year 15 mark and we'll go from there.
Cam, when you heard about Tom Brady joining the division, what went through your mind, and what's your process like going to be when you used to prepare for Jameis and now you're preparing for Tom Brady?
Oof. When you talk about Tom Brady being one of the GOATs, if it's not Drew Brees, it's Tom Brady. So it's somebody that I know that I've sacked before, at least. I think it's probably been maybe just once. But we're going to have to change that this year. When you talk about trying to put pressure on him, he does a phenomenal job at everything he does. He is one of the last remaining pocket quarterbacks, but he is the greatest pocket quarterback in terms of winning championships. So everything that that he is and everything that Tom Brady has been at the Patriots, I can only imagine what he's going to do in Tampa Bay. Now he has Mike Evans and Godwin.
Hey, Cam, your head coach, Sean Payton, made some headlines this week. We were talking about it earlier when he said Drew Brees, quote, announced he's coming back for his final season. He walked it back a little bit, said he was a dummy for saying that. Not sure if he should have, and he's not sure about what Drew Brees' plans are. But how do you think we should interpret those comments?
Yeah, you talk about Sean being in quarantine the last 2 weeks. That's a lot of thinking. That's a lot of plays he's worried on. In my mind, every year you deal with some rumor, either Sean's leaving or Drew's retiring. I've been dealing with that for the last, 6 years of my 9-year career. Until it happens, everybody knows that Drew's going to be playing at the highest level that he can. And everybody knows his percentage of completions he's had this past year. Everybody talks about how many touchdowns he throws versus how many, how many interceptions he doesn't throw. You know how great Drew is. And now he's got Mike Thomas the last 4 years, and he's only going to hit an even better stride, if possible, in the next couple of years. So it's all hearsay until it happens.
Cam, I got a question for you. Let's just assume this year goes exactly how you have planned out in your mind's eye, and you guys win the Super Bowl, and then Drew does end up walking away. He's a two-time champion, holds all the records. He says, I've done enough here. We keep hearing the heir apparent is Taysom Hill. And I have immense respect for Taysom Hill as a do-it-all guy. But Taysom Hill in his career has completed 6 more passes than you and me, which means he's completed 6 passes in the NFL. What am I not seeing? Are you seeing it? Like, how can it be that the heir apparent is the guy on kick coverage who occasionally breaks out and plays slot receiver? What am I missing about Taysom Hill?
And can return kicks. And can do it all. Be in tight end formation, halfback formation, and a slot. He can do it all. And he can pass. Everything that you know about Taysom Hill is, he's got a meticulous work effort. And I mean, so if Sean has faith in him, that's what we have to do. I don't know if we've ever really been in the league to say, hey, this is the heir apparent, just because we've always had Drew Brees and playing at his best. So for there to be an heir apparent, I'll just trust the Saints organization. We had Teddy Bridgewater as a backup, and when he took over for a 5-game stretch, he went undefeated. So if Sean says, hey, this is our next quarterback, then I'm going to reside in the words of Sean and say, hey, that's our heir apparent. Now, I did, read the same article saying that, he was going to have the same switchblade or Army Swiss knife role that he had last year. So does that mean we're going to pick up a 30 quarterback? Again, I'm just going to relay information to the Saints up top. I don't have to worry about that. That's above my pay grade. My pay grade is pretty nice.
Cam makes a lot of money. He makes a lot of money.
You set the record last year. You've sacked Matt Ryan 18 times. No player has sacked a quarterback that many times. What's your relationship like with Matt Ryan?
Sadly, it's non-existent. I feel like we should be way better friends than just this, hey, I only see you twice a year. I mean, I'm not saying I need an invite to the cookout, but I feel like he has maybe my invitation to my cookout. I need him. I need everybody in the NFC South. I feel like Atlanta has been great to me over these last 9 years. Carolina has been great to me. I feel like Tampa Bay has been even better to me. And then I look at the numbers, I'm like, Atlanta's my best friend. And then they're my rivals. So I need them. Hopefully they need me. It's probably not a two-way street there.
Hey, Cam, you play with Drew Brees. You're now going to play against Tom Brady. As a player who has seen both of them, who do you think is going to play longer in the NFL? Who's going to outlast who?
And it's a battle of attrition. I mean, in my mind, I'd never have to worry about Drew retiring because I feel like, they're always fighting, like Tom and Drew are fighting for the all-time records, whether it's all-time receptions, whether it's all-time TDs. Somebody's got to outlast somebody. And I do know Drew's a little bit younger than Tom. So I feel like we have a little competitive age of time on our hands. And I mean, at this point, Drew's playing at such a high rate. I feel like with Tom Brady signing a 2-year deal, I know I've got Drew for at least that long.
Cam, I'm always amazed by your energy, positivity, optimism, even, in the just days after this season ends, particularly because you're on a very short list of guys who, as far as you've lost 4 playoff games on the final play of the game. Like, I've never seen anything like it. Your first playoff game ever, I think, was the Vernon Davis game. You guys are up with 9 seconds left. He catches a touchdown. We all know the last 3 years, the Minneapolis Miracle, OT the Rams, OT last year against Minnesota. How are you able to turn the page and keep this infectious energy and enthusiasm when you've dealt with some heartbreaking ways for your season to end?
I mean, I think about 2011 rookie year. Woo, that was a big Cam right there. I had to think about how heavy I was back then. But you talk about my rookie year. I guess I didn't know Vernon could cry on cue because I mean he was crying immediately after the game, and then I've seen him on tape just like cry and then stop crying. I'm like, oh, was this a sham? Was this an act? Anyway, the way that he took that game from us rookie year, you look at it and it's like, all right, I need to win one. I mean, we have the talent. I need to win one. You talk about what happened respectively the last 3 years. It's each time it's like something else happens. There's something that we don't, the intangible of the game is like something other than the 11 men on the football field affected. But at the same time, I look at it, I'm like, hey, if we could only do, if we could get back 2 plays, if we could get back 1 play, if we could only take the last couple seconds of this game and make it, where we created a stand, what is that change? What is that difference? And to want to be a part of that difference, that's the exact same feel you get in this entire locker room. We get into the locker room, it's like, look, we're that much closer to where we want to be. The object of this game is winning. The object of this game is a Super Bowl. I don't have that yet. And so there's no reason for me not to be more hungry each and every time we take to the field.
Cam, you did a great interview with The Athletic last year where you named every quarterback, or you tried to name every quarterback you've ever sacked in your career. And in the interview, they talked about a wish list. Have you updated your wish list, or who's on your current quarterback sacking wish list?
I don't know if I have a quarterback sacking wish list. Honestly, when you talk about quarterbacks, they come as they go. But I do know the NFC South, which I've been a part of for 9 years, has at least amassed 30 of my sacks, 40 of my sacks. So I'm just going to rely on everybody in NFC South to keep that same energy. Now, all the other quarterbacks that have happened, I do appreciate them, but I do know 6 games out of my 16-game schedule is coming from the NFC South. So I'm just going to rely on that. Now, we talked about how many quarterbacks I sacked. I definitely needed like some hints and clues. I was like, oh, I remember when he was over at this team and when he was there and what year was that? What game was that? That was a heck of an interview just to try and think about that. And I probably rattled off more quarterbacks than I really thought I had known. So when you talk about a wish list, I gotta get young Mahomey. And I think Lamar would probably be next.
No.
I need Mahomey. I don't know. Look, I've seen what Lamar has done to defensive ends on the outside. I've been a defensive end in his limited role when Flacco was there trying to turn the corner. And I feel like that is one of 2 quarterbacks to ever turn the corner. I still need to sack Russell Wilson in a regular season game. I think I've gotten him in playoffs. I don't know if I've actually gotten him. I've hit him plenty of times. Somehow he's curled up to a ball, hit his offensive lineman, regained his balance and taken off. I mean, I've definitely hit him at an angle, and I think I sort of clipped him, but he got yards. He got a yard and a half. So he's really on my wish list. In terms of just the competitor that Russell Wilson is, he's probably up there. I'm still kicking myself in the back for never being able to sack Peyton Manning for some reason. I feel like these pure pocket quarterbacks are the ones that you should get when you have this chance. But
I think
I was
he's going to
younger
be playing
then.
golf pretty soon. You're going to get him out on the golf course. Just come up from behind. He'll never even know what happened, and you can mark that down. Put that on your wish list. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.